In the lead up to the Super Bowl, Sean Hannity interviewed Donald Trump, and it turned into this weird word association game where Trump got an opportunity to trash all the Democratic candidates. Take a look.
I'm just gonna throw out a name, whatever comes to your mind.
Okay.
We'll start with Joe Biden.
I just think of Sleepy. I just watch him. He's Sleepy, Sleepy Joe.
Hunter Biden.
Where's Hunter? Where is he? He made millions of dollars. He went from having no job, no income. He had nothing. As you know, he had a very sad experience in the military. He has nothing. To making millions and millions of dollars a year. Because you mentioned now Elizabeth Warren. She's not true to it. I call her fairy tale. Because everything's a fairy tale. That's how Pocahontas got started. Everything's a fairy tale. This woman can't tell the truth.
Michael Bloomberg.
Very little. I just think of little. You know, now he wants a box for the debates to stand on. Okay, it's okay. There's nothing wrong. You could be short. Why should he get a box to stand on, okay? He wants a box for the debates.
Hillary.
I think of emails. I think of the email scandal. How she got away with that is a disgrace. I think it's a disgrace.
Pelosi.
I think she's a very confused, very nervous woman. I don't think she wanted to do this. I think she really knew what was going to happen, and it's her worst nightmares happened. I don't think she's going to be there too long either. I think that the radical left, and she's sort of radical left too, by the way, but I think the radical left is going to take over. You know, I have little nicknames for all of them, but you just.
I'm sure they love your nicknames.
No, but they're accurate. You know, I mean, they're very accurate.
Well, he's right about one thing. He's right about the radical left taking over. I just don't think that they're all that radical. I think that they want the things that he promised when he was running, but wasn't actually telling the truth about. Now, I want to focus on what he had to say about Bloomberg because I think that's where the story is.
Before we do that, I just want to make one quick note. There's so many things I want to say about it, so many of them. Like the email thing, God, you're still not letting it. It was a minuscule compared to the billion controversies you've had that are 1,000 times worse. It drives me crazy. But I wanted to make a comment about Warren. It's a fairy tale. That's why I call it a fairy tale, because it's a fairy tale. How sophisticated of you. Anyway, he said this woman can't tell the truth.
I know.
You have over 15,000 documented lies since you took office. The nerve of him ever saying that someone else can't tell the truth. It drives me crazy every time. All right.
It would be like him calling someone else dumb, right? It's just, yeah.
Look in the mirror.
But I mean, this is the kind of stuff that I'm not surprised by it, right? This is the kind of stuff that he does. But his attacks against Bloomberg were really intriguing because Bloomberg's been putting out ads that have like really gotten under his skin in a funny way. So, first, let's go ahead and show you which ad has really gotten under his skin, and then I'm gonna tell you his like laughable response to it. Take a look.
People have said when you were mayor, the city gave Trump a contract to operate a golf course. Yes, that's true, but he was the only bidder, and running a golf course is the only job that I would hire him for. I'm Mike Bloomberg, and I approve this message.
So apparently Trump was not happy with the unflattering images that were used. He tends to think that his physique is much better than it really is. So according to Vanity Fair, fueled by an alleged, though totally believable anger over Bloomberg ads targeting his girth, Trump spent Sunday attacking Mini Mike on Twitter, declaring the 3-time mayor fake news, a loser out to get Sanders, and most damningly, short, okay? And then he put out this tweet, which I think is hilarious. Getting a little exercise this morning.
Oh God, you're so obvious. You're so obvious. He's like, make sure you take it from the front, not from the side. Take it from a real long distance.
So for our podcasters, he posted a photo of himself playing golf. And I mean, I guess he looks a little slimmer in that angle. I don't know, but he's trying to make a point about like how he's fit.
So now Mike Bloomberg has all the money in the world and he's already spent over $200 million in ads. But understand that Trump is right, that that ad by Bloomberg has only one point: to call Donald Trump fat, okay? Because why would you make an ad about yourself where you say you gave something to Donald Trump when you're fighting Donald Trump? It makes no sense. It was only an excuse to show the fat pictures of Donald Trump. Let's just keep it real. And I commend Bloomberg for doing that. I'm not on Bloomberg's side, obviously, right? But this ad is excellent. Because anybody who watches Young Turks has seen me say this 1,000 times. It's so easy to get under his skin.
Definitely.
Just call him a dummy. He hides his grades, et cetera, et cetera. No, when he goes low, go lower. Don't go high. That's how you lost the election, right?
Right. I mean, calling him out for his disgusting policies and his cruelty only makes him more appealing to his base, right? And it does nothing to inform people who already hate him. But getting under his skin and making him out to be as the weak person who he really is, I think is effective. And look, I want to be absolutely clear. We don't support Bloomberg. I think the fact that he's trying to buy his way into the election is gross. And it's beyond unfair. And I think that it points to a huge gaping problem that we have in this country, which is money in politics and how that corrupts everything. But back to the interview with Hannity. So Trump did say one thing in regard to Bernie Sanders that I thought was fascinating, because every other Democratic candidate, it was all negative, all negative. With Bernie Sanders, it's interesting because it seems like he can't help himself. And I think you're gonna get what I'm talking about by watching this next clip.
Bernie Sanders.
Well, I think he's a communist. I mean, look, I think of communism when I think of Bernie. Now, you could say socialist, but didn't he get married in Moscow? And that's wonderful. Moscow's wonderful.
Might have been the honeymoon.
You don't think necessarily, well, whatever, but you don't necessarily think in terms of marriage, Moscow. And it's wonderful. I'm not knocking it, but I think of Bernie sort of as a socialist, but far beyond a socialist.
Elizabeth Warren.
At least he's true to what he believes. That's one thing. I call him Crazy Bernie. They're sort of rigging the election against him again. I see what's going on. They're rigging it against him.
So I think it's so fascinating that he can't even help himself, and he ends up complimenting Bernie even when he's trying to trash him. So he believes in what he says. He's authentic. That's what he's essentially saying there, which is true. The socialism stuff or socialism attacks against Bernie Sanders have not been working. And so I've noticed people like Trump, Charlie Kirk over the weekend as well, have now pivoted to just saying communist, right? Yeah. Hoping that that'll work. I don't think it's gonna work. And then finally, I can't help myself, just quick fact check. He didn't get married in Moscow. He did go to Moscow in the 1980s, late 1980s, and he's gotten all sorts of criticism for that trip, but he did not get married in Moscow. And by the way, I mean, some of Trump's best friends are in Moscow, so he doesn't really see a problem with that.
Yeah, well, everything Trump does is projection.
Yeah.
Crazy Bernie. Dude, you're a lunatic, okay? And he's going to Moscow. I don't know why he's going to Moscow. No, actually, the real question is why you're taking orders from Moscow.
Right.
That's a much larger question. He went to Moscow in the 1980s versus you going and taking orders from Putin, doing press conferences where he goes, no, America's wrong, he's right. You're gonna criticize Bernie for being too beholden to Russia? Hilarious.
Yeah, so that was basically his weird, unhinged interview with Hannity. But again, the thing that stood out to me the most was Bloomberg's really getting under his skin. And if there's a silver lining to Bloomberg's run, that would be it. And number two, he can't help himself. Like with Bernie, he just can't help himself.
And then, but look, and then the counter strike by Trump against Bloomberg is he's short. Yeah. Well, okay, first of all, even if that were true, I have no idea how tall Mike Bloomberg is because I've never cared, nor should you ever care. What does that have to do with policy? Why should you vote? Because Trump views things as just, are people attractive? Are they the right race? Do they have the right genes? He's talked about genes 1,000 times before he ran for president. I have good genes, I come from good people and stuff like that. Oh, so Bloomberg, he's short, so he's obviously not a good person. What kind of lunatic thinks like that? That kind of lunatic, that guy right there, Donald Trump.
Don't miss your chance to win a trip to Los Angeles and have dinner with Cenk, Anna, and me. Just head to tyt.com/dinner in LA to register to win. Sign up for a free Aspiration Spend and Save account. Register your eligibility. Swipe your Aspiration card on daily purchases to gain entries to win a chance to fly to LA and have dinner with the TYT hosts. Not only are you entering to win that dinner in LA with Cenk and Anna and myself, but you're also able to deposit your hard-earned money without it going towards fossil fuel exploration or production. And as a friendly reminder, even if you already have an Aspiration account, you must still first register to be eligible for the sweepstakes.